Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a great week. This is Tim Hagan from Progress Coaching. And today's topic is again going to expand upon prior topics of where is AI going to impact coaching and our leadership. So I just got a request from 3 clients after a webinar we did with Training Magazine. And a couple of people asked, I want to sit down, I want to build out a chat bot, I want to build out an AI solution that will coach our leaders. I said, okay. I said, do you mind if I ask you a couple questions? And this one nice lady said yes. And I said, why do you want AI to coach your leaders? And I really want you to hear this. She said, well, I think it'll save us time in the training department. I said, fantastic. I said, what do you think your leaders need to work on? He said, empathy, having difficult conversations, setting expectations that are a lot more concise and clear. I said, why aren't they doing that now? And she sat there and she stopped and she goes, well, I don't know because, we've trained them extensively. And I said, okay, how have you followed up with the training with some type of application, whether it be practice sessions, mentoring, coaching? She said, well, we really haven't. That's why we're looking at AI. And I said, so I'm going to ask you another question. And this is where, again, I build AI solutions. I love AI, yet we have to be logistically conscientious. Maybe that's a good term I should come up with, teaching going forward, logistically conscientious. I said, do your leaders feel like they have needs in the areas that you've already presented? She said, what do you mean? I said, do they feel like they need to get better in that area? She said, no, we get a lot of resistance. And I said, so will your AI tool. And how will you know that they're being resistant with the AI tool? And she just stopped. She goes, I have not thought this through. I said, sure you have. I said, this is just extending what you've already followed through. This isn't a criticism. And it's really interesting because logistically, if 85% of people lack self-awareness, if 71% are neutral or actively disengaged in the workplace, if the Gallup organization, which I love, says that people engage 8 times more when we lead with the good stuff, is the AI tool going to have a preconceived understanding of who that person is and lead with the good stuff? And she goes, no. I said, so someone lacking self-awareness is they're not going to try to fudge the AI tool and say all the right things versus being in front of you? She said, wow, this has got me thinking. I said, use AI. Use it as a supplemental coaching strategy, whatever you want to do. But this is not AI and human-based coaching really have to work together. What are your thoughts?